Taylor Swift dropped the entire track list for the Midnight's album while I was sleeping, and I am unwell. Hi friends, what's up? It's Jaime here. It's been a minute since I've posted anything, I know. I'm sorry y'all, college has been kicking my butt, bro, like genuinely kicking my ass. One class in particular has just like refused to let me get any kind of rest these past couple of weeks, but it's okay, we're here now. Since I'm home this weekend, I hope to kind of stock up on some videos for like the next couple of weeks, but it's also me and my boyfriend's 4-year anniversary weekend, so I don't want to be like, you know, totally thinking about like video stuff. Like I also want to enjoy my anniversary, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, enough about all of that. Welcome back to another Fangirl Fridays video. For today's Fangirl Fridays video, I'm going to be talking about 2 shows that have had a very large impact on my life. And now if you've read the title of this video, you probably already know what those shows are. And they are Stranger Things and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So without further ado, let us get into the video. I want to say I started watching Stranger Things definitely not when it first came out, because I kind of have a tendency to kind of forget things that are mainstream, and I know that sounds kind of like weird and contradictory, but let me explain really quick. Basically, when something like a show or a movie is trending, I'll get like so much of it in like my social media feeds, particularly on Instagram, where just like throughout like my entire feed, I'll just see so many like fan edits of like the show or the movie. And just like, you know, clips from said show or movie, so much so that I'll kind of forget, because I've watched like so many fan edits, that I haven't actually watched the show or movie, like, if that makes sense. Like I'll just be like, oh yeah, like, because I'll have like through those fan edits I'll kind of get like a general idea of what's going on, and then I'll just, you know, months will pass and I'll be like, oh, you know, I actually never watched that. I never actually watched that thing that I was seeing all these fan edits about. So that's what usually happens to me. It's not like I go out of my way to like purposely avoid things that are mainstream, because I'm so like, not like other girls. I'm so I cannot take myself seriously when I'm saying that. But yeah, I don't do it on purpose. I just kind of forget. I just forget. So anyway, I'm pretty sure I started watching Stranger Things like right before season 2 dropped. Like it's been a couple of years, so I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure it was like literally like a week or like a few days before season 2 was about to come out, and I was like, let me go and watch Stranger Things, because again, it had been out for so long and I hadn't gotten around to watching it, and I was like, let me see what this is all about. And then I watched it and I was just hooked instantly. I think I finished the first season, like the entire first season, in one day, and also when season 2 came out, I finished that in one day. I think honestly, with every season of Stranger Things, again, with the exception of season 4, because obviously it was like broken up into volume 1 and volume 2, with the exception of season 4, I have watched every season of Stranger Things like within one day. I'm really good at binging shows, like like that. I consider it, because I don't really have that many talents, but I consider that to be like my hidden talent, me being able to binge shows very quickly, because people are always like, how did you watch that so fast? I'll just be like, I don't know, I'm just really good at finding time for shows when I want to watch them, like when I'm actually like actively thinking about watching them, I mean. Now if you somehow don't know what Stranger Things is, it is, okay, it's like a sci-fi horror mystery like drama kind of show on Netflix. It's set in the 80s. In terms of plot, the plot has gotten so big that honestly it would take me like 100 hours to explain it all. I mean, honestly, probably there are so many videos like on YouTube of people like breaking down like the entire plot of the show. So I'm not gonna do that here. That's not what we're gonna do here. Starting at like the very beginning, at the first season, there's this group of kids, like they're all like middle school age, they're best friends, one of them goes missing, and then the other kids in this friend group, they find this girl who has telekinesis. Is that what the word is? I think it's telekinesis. She has superpowers, and they think that she might be able to help them find their missing friend. That's like the basic premise of like the beginning of the show. But yeah, so that's basically like the plot of like the first season. Again, I'm not gonna go into any further discussion about the plot for the rest of the show, because 1, spoilers, and 2, the world of Stranger Things has just gotten so large that it would just take me way too long to try to talk about everything, and we don't have time for that. Also, again, I'm sure there are probably like a bunch of videos on YouTube of people like, you know, going through like the plot and the timeline of Stranger Things, if you're interested. But also, if you're interested, you like sci-fi, you like horror, you know, you should go and just experience Stranger Things for yourself. You know, it's on Netflix. Or read the Wikipedia summaries, that works too. You know, it's really funny because right before like the first part of season 4 came out, I was talking to my dad about Stranger Things, and so my dad, he doesn't watch Stranger Things, and he was like, is it scary? I was like, it's like kind of scary. Like there are horror elements to the show, but I'm like, I don't personally find it that scary. I really like horror a lot, and I was like, yeah, I don't really think it's that scary. And then literally I think we had this conversation like literally the day before the first part of season 4 dropped, and then, you know, I go in and I watch the first episode of season 4, and Chrissy does the Chrissy crumble, and I'm like, oh my god. I was like, that scarred for life, terrified me. Oh my god. Also, sorry for the spoiler, I guess, but also, like, I'm sure you've probably seen it all over the internet, and again, it happens literally in the first episode of season 4, so sorry, but I'm not really that sorry. Yeah, oh my god, the way the deaths happened this season were so brutal and horrifying to watch. Like, I was genuinely scared. I was like, oh my god, that was horrific. Holy shit. But I was like, well, fuck, like, now I'm terrified of this show in a good way. Obviously, like, I really like horror, so I was like really into it, but I was like, oh my god. I was like, when like they're like bones are cracking and their limbs are contorting, I was like, Jesus. I was like, that was fucking terrifying. Again, in a good way. I really love horror, and I really like the horror parts of this show. Again, they always have kind of unnerved me, but this I was like, oh my god, like genuinely terrified. I feel like each season has just gotten like better and better, and you know, season 5 is going to be the last season. It's been confirmed that that is going to be the final season. Obviously, I'm very sad about the show ending. However, I also have a lot of faith in the Duffers that they're going to deliver like a really good and solid ending for the show, so I am very excited about that. I have a feeling it's probably going to be very sad. I also have a feeling it's probably going to be a massacre. I'm very concerned about that, but I do have faith that it's going to be a good ending. Though if I fucking come back in like, because again, I'm pretty sure like if all things go according to plan, that that season 5 will come out probably like in 2024. If I come back in fucking 2024 and that ending turned out to be shit, I'm gonna be really fucking mad. Duffer Brothers. I don't think it'll be bad. I'm sure it'll be good. Anyway, if I had to pick like a favorite season of Stranger Things, because they all kind of, you know, I feel like overall like the tone of Stranger Things is pretty consistent, but I feel like also like each individual season kind of has their like own individual vibe kind of going on. I think my absolute favorite season is probably still season 3. I loved season 3. I thought that season 3 was so fun. I think my favorite thing about season 3 was what I think is personally one of the best decisions they could have done with the show, which is put Max and Elle together. Max and Elle are definitely like my favorite characters in Stranger Things, so putting them together was really, really exciting for me. Obviously, I love the pairing of Dustin and Steve from season 2 and onward. Obviously, they're iconic. You gotta love them. But I really, really love the pairing of Max and Elle. It was just really sweet to me. I think they like make such wonderful friends. I loved seeing them have fun in like the mall together, and then also like Max kind of like teaching Elle to be less reliant on like the men in her life. I just thought it was all really sweet and heartwarming, and I love them. Also, Millie Bobby Brown and Sadie Sink's performances just are always phenomenal. They kill it every time. I mean, the entire cast is super fucking talented. And also, the fact that the entire like cast, like the younger members of the cast specifically, the fact that they didn't get any Emmy nominations, absurd. Wild. I can't believe it. Like, they acted their asses off this past season. I mean, they always do, but like this season, oh my god. Like, you're gonna sit there and tell me that Caleb McLaughlin's performance in the last episode of season 4 of Stranger Things wasn't Emmy worthy? Are you out of your mind? Anyway, obviously I'm very pissed still that the Stranger Things cast got snubbed at the Emmys, but I'd like to take a moment to quickly shout out just how fucking talented this entire cast is. Like, they always kill it. They always deliver with their performances in this show. Like, just when I think that they can't get any better, a new season of the show drops. I'm like, holy shit, you guys fucking did it again. Like, you're like, they're all so talented. The younger actors and the older actors, like, they're just, all of them are just like in a league of their own, and they're just so incredible to watch. Also, I really love that the cast seems to be like genuinely like lovely people to be around. I really love watching like the cast interviews for the show, because they're so funny and they're so chaotic, but they also can be very sweet, because again, the cast members, they just all seem like so nice, and they all really love each other. Like, they just seem like this really big family, and it's so fun. One of my favorite compilations I've watched of like interview moments with the cast of Stranger Things, I think it's called the Stranger Things cast being chaotic on the season 4 press tour. I think that's what it's called. I'll have it linked down below in the description, because it's really funny, and I've literally never laughed harder, like both on screen and off screen. Like, these people have like they make me laugh so much, and I love them. Anyway, I really love this show. I honestly think it might be my current favorite show right now. I'm just so in love with the storytelling and the characters. I really love watching behind the scenes videos of Stranger Things. I just really love hearing the stories, and also just like seeing like how certain scenes were shot. Like, it's just, especially because I know that the Duffers like really love using like a lot of practical effects when they can. So just like seeing like when certain things like aren't like CGI, because obviously the CGI is super impressive too, but just like when seeing things that are like the practical effects of it all, like, is so cool. Also, I will never ever shut up about the fucking running up that hill scene. Oh my god, that is just one of the greatest scenes I've ever seen in my life. I love it. It's so cinematic and beautiful, and the song is great, and oh my god, every time I hear that song, I can only picture that scene in my head, and it's fantastic. It's so good, and oh my god, I can't. I will never shut up about it. But yeah, I love Stranger Things. I think that everyone who doesn't mind some horror should watch it, because it's just such an incredible show. Something I'd like to quickly add before we move on. So my boyfriend, Adam, he doesn't watch Stranger Things. Adam doesn't do horror. I tried to get him to watch Stranger Things, but we only made it through like the first 3 episodes of season 1. Adam doesn't do scary stuff. He doesn't like horror. So instead, I just word vomit the entire plot of every season of Stranger Things to him, so that he's all caught up and can understand like the memes that go around about Stranger Things, which I honestly think is a pretty fair trade-off. Like, I really like to talk about Stranger Things, and Adam really likes memes, so, you know, it works for us. Moving on to another show that I just cannot shut up about, we are going to talk about the Nickelodeon 2012 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show. Now, while Stranger Things might be my current favorite show at the moment, 2012 TMNT is my absolute favorite show of all time, hands down. 2012 TMNT just celebrated its 10-year anniversary, which is primarily why I wanted to talk about it, but also because it's just genuinely my favorite show ever. I have such vivid memories of being 10 years old and watching the promos and the commercials for the very first time of this show. So basically, you know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's like a 30-plus-year-old franchise. Like, it's been a while. It's been out for a minute. And there are a lot of iterations within the franchise. There have been so many different movies, so many different shows, so many different comics. Like, it's a really big franchise. So like going into 2012 TMNT, even though I had never watched any of the other shows or any of the other movies, although actually I had watched part of the second 1990 movie, but like I hadn't seen the whole thing. But yeah, so without going into like not knowing all those other things beforehand, I had a very vague, like, kind of familiarity with the franchise before watching this show. My older brother had been a big fan of the 2003 series, which literally came out when I was only 1 year old. So I was a bit too young, you know, to jump on the bandwagon for that one. But I at least knew, like, what the franchise was. I mean, like, how could I not? It's so iconic. Anyway, when they first started airing the ads for 2012 TMNT on Nickelodeon, I was immediately like intrigued by this show. Like, I really liked the CGI style of it, which I would later learn was a source for a lot of controversy amongst longtime fans of the franchise. The beautiful thing about being 10 when the show first came out was that I wasn't on social media, so I wasn't privy to any of the discourse that was happening like about the show, which I would later learn was like a lot. There was a lot of like pushback from like older fans of the franchise, because here's the thing. So if you don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans tend to get very protective over their favorite iterations within the franchise. Like, there are some people who are like diehard fans of the 80s series, diehard fans of the 2003 series, and they're like, this is the best version of Ninja Turtles and there will never be another version that's better than this one. So anytime there's a new version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, a new like cartoon specifically, fans are very skeptical at first. Longtime fans are very skeptical because they're like, why should I like this series more than the one I already like? You know what I mean? But yeah, so again, because I was literally 10 and not on social media at the time, the only impressions I had about the show were made based off of what I saw on TV, and then also like what I saw on the Nickelodeon website, because I used to be a really big fan of the Nickelodeon website when I was a kid. But yeah, so I didn't really have like any pre-existing expectations for what I wanted the show to be or what I thought the show was gonna look like, because again, I only like had a vague like familiarity of the franchise. So I was like, oh, this looks cool. I'm like, I can't wait for it to come out. And then it came out and it changed my life. I was hooked right from the jump. The first episode, like the 2 parts of the first episode, really reeled me in immediately, and my life has never been the same since. I know that might sound dramatic to some people, but it's honestly the truth. I need you to understand that 2012 TMNT was such a critical influence to me in my journey as a writer and a storyteller. And I know I didn't really talk about it like at all in my why did I choose screenwriting video, but that's because I've always planned on doing another video, a separate video, where I talk about the sheer impact that this show has had on my life and just like my journey with screenwriting, and also because I didn't want that specific video to be like 1,000,000 minutes long. But yeah, 2012 TMNT really changed the game for me. It was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Winx Club, and Minecraft Diaries that were like the trifecta of shows that really pushed me to becoming like the writer that I am today. Like, they were such a formidable part of like my childhood and also just my writing journey. And again, I do plan on making like another video in the future where I talk about that more, but that's a story for another day. 2012 TMNT really broadened my horizons about like what it means to be a storyteller, and for that and for a multitude of other reasons, this show will always have such a special place in my heart. Because one of the things that older fans of the franchise were concerned about in regards to the 2012 series was that I was going to be too silly and goofy, especially with like the CGI like animation style, especially coming off from the 2003 series, which is known for having more of a mature edge to it. And while yes, the show can get very, very silly and ridiculous at times, as I've told my boyfriend many times because I cannot shut up about this show, when 2012 TMNT wants to hurt you, They know exactly how to do it, and they will fuck up your emotions. Believe me, I have watched this entire show, like the entire show through like probably 8 times at least. I think now I'm on my 9th time, but I've watched this show many times, and even with knowing what happens, there have been so many episodes that have just made me bawl my eyes out. I just think that 2012 TMNT has such a great balance of like the humorous moments, but also like the serious and emotional moments, especially in the later seasons. Like once we get past season 1, like it just gets more and more sad. It's still like really fun and like very enjoyable to watch, and we still get the silly goofy moments, but it's like, enjoy the goofiness of season 1 while it lasts, because it does not last forever, let me tell you that. And I know that I am extremely biased because, you know, 2012 TMNT is the version of Ninja Turtles that I grew up with, but I personally believe that it is the best Ninja Turtles show within the franchise. Like, genuinely, I think it's the best one. Again, I know I'm very biased, but that's just my opinion. I've watched the 2003 series at this point. I've watched Rise, and while I haven't watched the 80s series yet, because I haven't been able to, I still feel pretty confident in my opinion, because the 80s series, while iconic, I fully understand that it is extremely iconic. Like, the shirt I'm wearing is, this is the 80s series. Like, I have another Ninja Turtle shirt that's also of the 80s Turtles. I fully understand that it's an extremely iconic show. It's definitely very, very, like, goofy, and silly, and also kind of lacks certain elements that I really, really love about 2012 TMNT. So that's why I kind of, obviously, once I get to watch it, I'm going to give it a fair chance, but, you know, I can't imagine that I will like it more than 2012 TMNT, to be honest. Also, I tried to watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation, but I had to stop. I could not. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so bad. Oh my god. It was so bad. I had to stop after like literally 2.5 episodes. I couldn't even get through the entire 3rd episode. I just had to stop. Also because I don't know what they were doing with that camera work, bro. It was just, they were like moving it all over. It made me really dizzy. I couldn't keep watching. It was just too bad. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I guess I'm throwing down the gauntlet. 2012 TMNT is the best show in the franchise, and while I'm at it, the 2007 movie, and then also the Batman versus Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, those are the best movies in the franchise. Feel free to disagree with me. That's just my opinion. Also, I haven't read any of the comics because I'm a fake fan. Moving on. No, but seriously, I have been meaning to read them. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Please don't crucify me. I will get to it eventually. There's a lot of comics, okay? Leave me alone. Anyway, I also have to say that I absolutely adore the cast and crew for 2012 TMNT. Like, genuinely, one of my favorite things to do is watch the recordings of various panels that have been done for the show at like various conventions. There's a couple of them like up on YouTube that you can like literally just go and watch, because I just love hearing them talk about the show, and also I just, you know, really like to get to know like the people who were so instrumental to making this show that I love so much. Like executive producers Brandon Auman and Ciro Nieli, and all of the voice actors, of course. Also, 2 things. One, Brandon Auman is genuinely like one of my favorite screenwriters like ever. Like literally almost all of my favorite episodes from this show were written by him. And 2, 2012 TMNT really like sparked my appreciation for and love of like voice acting. Like, the voice actors for the show are so talented, and it really made me appreciate just how much like, just, it's such, voice acting is so cool. I think it's so, so cool. Also, not to mention that the voice actors on 2012 TMNT are absolute fucking legends. Like, we got Rob Paulson, Greg Sipes, Sean Astin, Seth Green, not to mention Mae Whitman and Hoon Lee, Kevin Michael Richardson, and Kelly Hu, Minai Noji. Oh my god. They're just all phenomenal. Just chef's kiss. Like they're so cool. They're so cool and they're so talented. Also, not to flex, not to flex, but at Comic-Con one year, I got to see a panel with Rob Paulsen and Nolan North and Troy Baker, and it changed my life. I just want everyone to know that I breathe the same air as Rob Paulsen, Nolan North, and Troy Baker. Another reason why I love the recordings of the 2012 TMNT panels at Comic-Con in particular is because a very special person was the host of those panels, and that person would be Andre Meadows, aka Black Nerd Comedy. If you don't know, Andre, who runs the Black Nerd Comedy channel, basically it's a channel where he talks about all kinds of nerdy and geeky stuff, from shows to movies to video games. Like, chances are, if you can think it, he's probably covered it. I've been a really big fan of Andre for a very long time. I first discovered his channel back when he was doing his Ninja Turtles like recap videos. So basically, back when 2012 TMNT was like airing regularly, Andre did like basically a recap video about every single episode, with the exception of like season 1 and then a couple of episodes in season 5 of 2012 TMNT. So he recapped like all of them, and I watched all of his recaps. Andre is a longtime Ninja Turtles fan, so it was really interesting and exciting to hear like his thoughts and feelings about the show, and also to get clued in on like the references that 2012 TMNT was making about like previous iterations of the franchise, and also to just get clued in on like other pop culture references that the show was making that just like completely went over my head as a kid. Like they would reference like various like movies, and I was just like, like I didn't get it when I was like watching the episode, but then Andre would talk about it and be like, oh, I see, I understand what they're talking about there now. Andre also got the chance to interview several of the cast and crew of 2012 TMNT, and eventually was asked to host like basically all of the panels that were done for the show. Okay, not like all of them, he didn't do all of them, but if you go through like the videos that are on YouTube that exist of like these various panels at these various conventions, like he's in a lot of them. Like he hosted a lot of them. That was just so exciting to see. As a fan of Andre and just knowing how much love he has for this franchise, it also made me like so excited every time they referenced him in like episodes of the show, because they do, and I just thought that was so cool. I loved everything that happened there regarding like Andre and the show, and I'm just so happy that he had the opportunity to like do all these things. It just makes me so happy for him. I love watching Andre's recap videos. I still rewatch them to this day, and let me tell you, I cannot wait to show them to my boyfriend, who has recently started watching the show. Also, can I just say that I think it's so fucking awesome that 2012 TMNT is on Netflix now. Yes, I know it's only the first season, and I don't know if they have any plans to put the other seasons onto Netflix at some point. But it makes me so happy because, again, like I just mentioned, my boyfriend has recently started watching 2012 TMNT with me. Like, we've been rewatching it together. Well, rewatching for me, he's experiencing it for the first time. And like, when 2012 TMNT first came out, I was 10 years old. Like, it came out 10 years ago. Like, I was a kid. And so now that I get to like share this show that was such a formidable part of my childhood, it's so important to me, with someone in my life who's so important to me now as an adult, like that just makes me so happy. Like, I can't fully express just how happy that makes me. And I recently just got paid by my job, so I can't wait to get the entire DVD collection, so that me and my boyfriend can watch the rest of the show with no problem. Like, you better believe I'm gonna do it. Also, not even just like so that he can watch it, but so that I can like also continue to rewatch it, cause it's a struggle out here trying to find those episodes sometimes, bro. To round out this section, I'm going to quickly rapid fire like some of my favorite things about the show, like favorite character, favorite season, etc., etc. So, my favorite character is Leo. Before I started watching the show, I thought that I was going to be a Donnie girly, but Leo quickly won me over in the first 2 episodes. My favorite villain is Tiger Claw, because I really love how he's not just like a mindless drone that just like follows Shredder like perfectly like and obediently. I really like that he like questions Shredder's actions. That makes me really respect him a lot. My favorite season of 2012 TMNT is season 3, because I think it's just like the perfect balance of the humor and the serious moments. My favorite episode of 2012 TMNT is probably the season 4 finale, Owari, because I just enjoy being in pain for some reason. But then also my second and third favorite episodes of the series are Revenge of the Triceratons and then The Power Inside Her. My favorite arc of the show is the Mutant Apocalypse episodes in season 5, because even though they aren't actually canon, I think they really perfectly like encapsulate like the core aspects of the show and also just like the franchise and why they're so beloved. Anyway, the first season of 2012 TMNT is on Netflix, so if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you do, because I just think it's such a great introduction to the show and also the franchise. It's so fun. Just like, I promise you, it's like definitely worth the watch. Anyway, that is all I have for today's Fangirl Fridays video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below in the comments what your favorite shows are right now. You can say like what your current favorite show is. You could say what your favorite show of all time is. You could list a couple if you can't choose. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I upload every Wednesday and Friday except when I don't, and sometimes on Saturdays, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.